Before we begin to read the Zohar, we have to understand why are we reading it. We're reading it in order to unite in our heart and soul. That is, our desires, called hearts, should be as one, aimed at the purpose of creation, the reason for which we exist, based on the thought of creation, not on what we may think with our confused thoughts, meaning that we have to unite, and through the connection between us, all those who long for revealing the Creator, they have to be united, connected. This is called the Yashar Kel, straight to the Creator. And in that connection, through that connection, we'll understand what the Zohar talks about. So to the extent that we will be able to connect, we will understand what's written here. So our intentions should be aimed at connection, and then by reading we'll be able to unite, and by uniting we'll be able to understand what we're reading. We're always talking about one thing here. Although the picture seems very extensive, it's really, it becomes, how to put it, the more we read the Zohar, even without interpretations or additions, the Zohar itself works on the person. We'll see that we are only talking about a contact point between the force of receiving and the force of giving. The receiving force is me, and the giving force is the Creator, and all the concepts, names, and terms, they all come together, where I basically clarify what is the form of connection, the extent, and the manner in which I can be connected with the upper force, where I am basically including the desires, all the creatures. I gather them and include them, and to the extent that I am with them together, I bring myself to a connection with the Creator. So, we're basically talking about the point of contact, and that contact point is not one point because we're scattered among many desires, and that's what's called a breaking, the forces of separation. So, the more I am willing, despite the separation, to put everything together, to understand that the separation is in me, it is my corruption, the more I bring them together and I try to make them as one man in one heart, as it says, all Israel is friends, from the love of the creatures to the love of the Creator, then I take all of that wild, scattered imagination that I have, and I bring it into one union, and then I find the connection and coupling with the Creator. Oscar from Venezuela is asking whether when we read the Zohar in another language, does it give you the same influence if the letters are not Aramaic or Hebrew? It doesn't matter. There's no doubt that it doesn't matter at all. The whole world will have to read with their own letters and their own language, although there will be specific areas in the Zohar where we will be discussing the parts of the letters, their components, the lines and dots that make up the form of a letter. And then we'll be talking about letters as symbols or road signs, something that, a shape. So then it doesn't matter if it's Hebrew or any other symbol, because what matters is what those symbols are about. We're only talking about man's desires, and those desires have no nationality or language or anything. It's a desire. When I tell you the word sweet and translate it to 1,000 languages, you will still feel sweet with it. If I tell you salty, you'll feel salty. When I tell you lemon in whatever language, you immediately feel what its taste is. So we're talking about emotions, and therefore the words themselves which invite those emotions in you, the words themselves are not important. So that's not the problem in terms of spiritual advancement.